Thank you for listening to Curious Cat, a podcast that examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. I'm your host, Jennifer Hotes. Join me every week as I explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. We've all heard of angel numbers, right? 111, 222, 1234. I'm not the only one that goes crazy when I see that on my clock, right? 444. But what about knocks? Raps on the door. I remember from my Ghost Adventure-obsessing days, the crew would often hear 3 knocks, declaring it a sure sign of dark energies, maybe the sign of a demon, a mocking of the trilogy that is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But recently, I heard 4 distinct knocks on my front door. Then 3 hours later, 4 more knocks. Once the sun rose, I went on a web search to find out if there was some deeper meaning behind the 4 knocks. And that rabbit hole, well, let's get into it. On a night when the wind was gusting from 70 to 100 miles per hour, I managed to tuck inside a comforter and fall asleep. I don't know how. My dog was hiding in the basement. At 1 a.m., I was startled awake to the sound of 4 distinct knocks. Bam, 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 like a fist on a wood door. I immediately thought it might be a family member that'd come over because their power was out. I got out of bed and my instinct told me not to open the front door. I did pull back the shade and look outside. No one was there. No car was in the driveway. Nothing. I returned to bed and then bam, 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 bam at 4 a.m. Startled again, this time the cat followed me down the hallway. I checked the side window and no one was on the porch. No car in the driveway. Then I remembered the side door that no one really uses. It has a pane of glass and you guessed it, no one was on the other side. I had another whispering from my intuition. Don't open the door. I worried again that it might be a family member coming over, and I didn't want them to be left outside on the porch like the little matchstick girl. But I tucked myself back under the covers, and my intuition said it wouldn't be them anyway. It'd be something dark in disguise. It was the creepiest thought. Very creepy. Very unsettling. I managed to get back to sleep. A quick internet search, though, over morning coffee the next day, and I found this from Google. Quote, 4 knocks means stay balanced and centered. 4 knocks, if you hear it, it's time to practice consistency in order to create stability in your life. A square has 4 sides. Thank you, Google. 4 angles and 4 points, making it a stable foundation. Then I found in Doctor Who, the doctor fears a prophecy stating he will knock 4 times, which will result in the doctor's death. Yow. From a Reddit user, 4 knocks means, quote, aliens. At times, they knock before an abduction. Read some of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, for one. Well, that might explain why that day and for the following 48 hours, Orion, as in the constellation, and the stellar angel kept popping up for me on socials, in real life. I'm talking everywhere, but more on that later. Still, over the second cup of coffee, searching the internet, I found out I'm not the only one that's experienced 4 knocks. Here's someone on a paranormal forum. Quote, it all started when I had a dream hugging an ex-friend. I woke up at 1 a.m. to 4 knocks, like someone was knocking on the door, and it was then a week later, I heard it again at 2 a.m. And last night I heard it at 5:42 a.m. It woke me up, driving me crazy. And I wish I could find out what it wants to show me. I feel like it wants me to see something. Thank you. And no, it's nothing in the house like the pipes settling, etc. There was a back and forth between them and the moderator. But one meaty response I found said, anything is possible. Have you spoken to your friend since the dream? With the paranormal, it's a matter of ruling out things one at a time until you get to the point that all obvious things, including other explanations, have been ruled out. What you are left with is the paranormal. Then you start trying to fit those pieces of the puzzle together. Sometimes we don't find out the reason for the sudden wave of activity at all. And I say wave because these things normally appear that way. They are not consistent. You may have a period of nothing and then a period of sudden activity. We don't know what the triggers are all the time to cause it to happen. I just want you to not be afraid of this. I've had activity my whole life long, and I'm over 60 years now. Some I know and some I don't. Well, that was really good food for thought. From another website, though, I found this, quote, 4 knocks represents consistency, stability, and continuity, encouraging you to pursue your goals with determination to reap the full benefits. So that was similar to the very first explanation Google gave me. From a website called Prophetic Numbers, I found this detailing of the knocking in the Bible. Who knew the good book was filled with knockers? Okay, sorry, I couldn't resist the dad joke. But here's their information. For years and years, people from all over the world have told me they hear knocking in their sleep. A few people have told me they've heard mysterious knocking while they are awake, but it's definitely more rare. Now, you can Google mysterious knocking while asleep, but most sites are New Age mystics, Eastern gurus, witches, or modern psychologists giving their ungodly explanations. Check this out. Doctors and sleep scientists call hearing knocking in your sleep exploding head syndrome and say it's physiological. Hear me on this. These websites and explanations are not for you. Kingdom people look for a kingdom answer. The answer is always Jesus. Okay, that last sentence, no surprise, was in bold and all caps, by the way. But back to the article. Let me tell you, this hillbilly hears knocking in his sleep, and it happens often. Sometimes my wife hears it too. Now, I live in the middle of the sticks, and I know there's nobody at my door. I still go and answer it, and I'll tell you why. Revelation 3:20, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come to him and dine with him, and he with me. I'm not kidding you. I believe that when I hear these knocks, the Lord is speaking to me. He wants access to me, and he wants it right now. That's why I open the door and say, you are welcome to come in my house, Jesus. If you're not him, go away. You are not welcome, so get out of my house and don't come back in the mighty name of Jesus. Well, that, to me, that kind of resonates. I wish I'd thought of that. I just didn't open the door. But the author goes on. I know this sounds crazy, but there are 2 things I know. Number 1, God speaks to us in many ways, and knocking is one way Scripture says he communicates with us. Note that in Revelation 3:20, Jesus knocks with his voice. Number 2, God loves a prophetic act. Getting up and letting him in will usher in something amazing if you're willing to sacrifice a little comfort and shut-eye. First off, doors are a big deal in the Bible, he says. Open doors, shut doors, they are all about access. John 10:7 says, so Jesus again said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. Doors have to do with access to Jesus. So what is the significance of knocking? Let's look at scripture. Isaiah 22:22. Quote, "The key of the house of David I will lay on his shoulder. Then he shall open and no one shall shut, and he shall shut and no one shall open." This is God saying, I'm giving my people keys to unlock unusual, unexpected, unprecedented, and unhinged opportunities. In Revelation 3:8, I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength and have kept my word and have not denied my name. This is Jesus saying, quote, "Because you have served me well by serving others so selflessly, I am giving you favor that no man can stop," end quote. Knocking on God's door signifies using your favor. Hearing God knock is a word about faith. This should blow you away. There are 10 scriptures, 10 equals perfect order, which speak of knocking on doors, spiritual doors. 7, and 7 is the Spirit of God, are about knocking and using your favor. In Matthew 7:7, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. In Matthew 7:8, for everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. In Luke 11:9, so I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. And in Luke 11:10, for everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. When this happens in my life, even in the middle of the night, he says, I immediately take note of 3 things. Number 1, what time is it? Number 2, how many knocks? Number 3, are they slow and deliberate or rapid, which signifies urgency? Get up, he says. Prophetically let him in and pull out your Bible and computer. Look up verses that correspond with the time. Was it 1:21 or 6:47? Check out those verses and see if they speak to you. If you heard 2 knocks, God could be talking to you about being a faithful witness or being set apart from the world, because that's what the number 2 signifies. I check out 222 scriptures. Maybe he's speaking to you about signs, miracles, and wonders like in Acts 2:22. Maybe he wants to talk to you about new wine, a new opportunity he wants you to steward. You can't do that if you don't change. Just check out Mark 2:22. Hearing 3 knocks. 3 signifies fullness or completeness. It could also be God calling you to do greater things. Jeremiah 33:3 says, call to me and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. In other words, if 2 knocks wakes you up at 2:22 or you hear 3 knocks at 3:33, your mind should be blown. Get up, let Jesus in and grab your Bible. He wants to give you a major download right now, end quote. So I'm left with, holy smokes, I heard 4 knocks at 4 a.m., but damn it, they have more info on 3s, but not a 4 in sight. The article continues. Speaking of 3s, there are 3 verses that talk about God knocking, which again is a message to you about faith and what the reward of you having faith is. Number 1, King Jesus wants an intimate relationship with you, his beloved, his bride, his church. Number 2, Jesus wants you to be ready for his victorious return as the bridegroom. And number 3, Jesus wants you to be family. After reading that article, I went searching a little further and got some information on 4 from a website called spiritualposts.com. It's a meteor explanation. Quote, 4 knocks on the door reminds you to share your gifts consistently. Consider 4 for mental stability. If you hear 4 knocks on your door, it's a sign from the universe that you must take responsibility for your feelings, your decisions, and actions. Don't let other people's opinions sway your own. From refinery29.com comes this gem. Edgar Allan Poe didn't focus on the rapping at his chamber door in The Raven for nothing. Knocking on the walls, front door, or windows of your home may mean you have a spirit on your hands. That's how I felt at the moment. Some believe a knocking spirit is asking for entry into your home, which would only lead to a more entrenched spiritual presence, while others suggest this type of entity just wants to get your attention. One particularly bone-chilling legend has it that 3 knocks in a row mean death, but we prefer one Redditor's theory that knocking suggests that the ghost in your house is bored. Okay, so were ghosts in my house simply bored? Well, considering the storm pounding outside, maybe there was a surplus of energy and those ghosts were like an overcharged battery, and the result was 4 knocks. The jury's still out. I Googled 4 knocks, only the words 4 knocks, nothing else. And guess what? I stumbled on this. 4 Knocks, an ancient site in Ireland, on an Irish tourism webpage of all places. I'd never heard of 4 Knocks, the site. Here's what they wrote. 4 Knocks is a passage chamber tomb built about 5,000 years ago. It is located 10 miles southeast of Newgrange, between Ardcath in County Meath and the Knoll in County Dublin. The name 4 Knocks may be from the Irish Fair Knocks, meaning cold hills. These passage graves are decorated with abstract art and bear the first depiction of a human face found in prehistoric art in Ireland. I have goosebumps. 3 earthen mounds were excavated by the National Museum in 1950 to 1952. One covered a passage grave to crucifixion plan with decoded uprights and lintels resembling the Newgrange designs. I think they mean Newgrange designs. The contents of this tomb were intact, and so the results were of immense importance and value to students of the megalithic period in Ireland and the world. The contents found were of great importance, with fragmentary human remains representing dozens of bodies of all ages and genders. These were accompanied by grave offerings, stone beads, and miniature hammer pendants, bone pins, etc. in the 3 side chambers. Okay, something I just thought to share that feels relevant is that my husband always teases me that he's more Irish than me. This according to his ancestry DNA thingy, and that came through not him directly, but a half-sister and some other information from an older brother. My birth surname was Riley, and my father, rest his soul, looked like a big old leprechaun, but whatever, it's not a competition. But this connection to 4 Knocks in Ireland, well, it's clear proof that my Irish ancestors were flexing my thick Irish heritage by pounding on my door in the dead of night. Maybe. Not once, though, but twice. Oh, but darn, Doug wasn't home at the time to flex that on. He was on a business trip. And I have to make another note here. It reminds me these are like mound graves, right? That's what these knocks are. And that is very rooted in the earth. So this will connect later in the episode when the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place. But I can't help thinking that this whole incident and this web search might have had something to do with my Irish lineage. www.knowth.com says this about the site. 4 Knocks features a short passage that opens into a spacious, pear-shaped chamber with 3 smaller offset chambers. The original roof was probably a wooden structure supported by a central pole. However, in 1952, following a 2-year excavation, a modern concrete roof was installed to preserve the structural integrity. During the excavation, a fascinating array of artifacts and human remains was unearthed within the tomb. Among the 65 burials discovered were both cremated and unburned remains of adults and children. The site revealed an assortment of items, including intricately decorated pottery, vessels, and personal ornaments such as pennants and beads. In a bid to safeguard these valuable historical finds, all excavated items were relocated to the National Museum so we could go visit them today. The discoveries at Fort Knox provide valuable insights into the lives and practices of the ancient community that once inhabited the area. The article continues. Upon entering the chamber, one encounters a rare possible representation of a human face from the Neolithic period in Ireland, positioned to the left of the entrance. Standing at approximately 3 feet in height, the face stone bears a resemblance to a prehistoric smiley face. The key for the entrance door to Fort Knox Passage tomb can be got from Mrs. Margaret White, who lives a few minutes' drive from the tomb. Directions are signposted from Fort Knox. A cash deposit must be given, which is refundable on the safe return of the key. The key should be returned before 6 p.m. Okay, it seems like there's not a ton of foot traffic to Four Tombs since they're doing this method for their visitors. Kind of interesting. 2 more passage tombs in the next field are overgrown with grass and bushes. There's no public access to these monuments from the main tomb, with a no-through access sign to discourage visitors from climbing over the fence. One talk given about the site in 2004 states the Fort Knox is a ridge running east to west near the village of the Knoll. So sunrise to sunset, I can't help thinking. The site consists of 3 main cairns set within a landscape of ritual. The site was excavated in the 1950s by P.J. Harnett. He discovered that the Fort Knox 2, which is in a field to the immediate east of the main mound, Fort Knox 1, had several phases of development. The early phases consisted of a crematorium pit and passage grave. Around this time, a small cairn was constructed that covered a token burial. Then, at a later phase of activity, the cairn was enlarged to encompass the earlier passage grave and crematorium pit. It was made to look similar to its sister mound in the next field. Fort Knox 1 had a post hole in the center of the chamber. It's thought that this may have supported a wooden roof at some time, although no roofing material was found. I think that a wooden post is unlikely to have supported a roof as suggested, as wood rots and over time a new post hole would be required to support the roof. There was no evidence of any recut, thus suggesting that the chamber may never have been roofed and that the post hole may predate the construction of the mound and was the principal marker on the site. It may also leave open the possibility that the central post was in fact a standing stone, similar to on the Hill of Tara, and may have been removed or destroyed in antiquity. Fort Knox 1 had about 65 burials, a mix of inhumations and cremations, and a mixture of adults and children. However, the burials were confined to the recesses and passage. Pottery fragments, flint, and antler were also found on this site. The lecturer posits that the 4 mounds orientation has astrological significance, which gives me goosebumps. Quote, since 1997, when Anne-Marie Moroni began observing winter sunsets at Douth, evergreen trees to the west of the mound have been blocking more of the sunlight each year. According to some authorities on the Boyne Valley, this event does not happen. Let us look at some of the mythological and other more obvious evidence that may point to the astronomical alignments at Newgrange. The mound is surrounded around the southeastern face by white quartzite, a stone with strong connections to the moon. Seen in plan, this looks like the shape of the crescent moon. It's also the side of the mound that faces the direction of the rising crescent moon. The Irish name for Newgrange, Brú na Bóinne, means the fairy mansion of the Boyne, but the word bra also has connotations with the lords of light who enter the chamber today as the solstice sunbeam, and with the womb correlating with the female reproductive cycle, which, as we know, correlates with the phases of the moon. The constellation of Cassiopeia, according to Brennan, Fornax 1 is aligned 17 degrees east of north, which just eliminates any of the direct lunar or solar alignments with the passage, but not the chamber. During the Stone Age, the passage was aligned with the helical rising of the W-shaped constellation of Cassiopeia. The constellation is curious in that during the Stone Age, it would rise above the horizon after sunset, but now because of the precession of the equinoxes, the star no longer rises and it's observed in the sky all year long. Perhaps their science allowed them to single out this constellation during the only time in its 26,000-year cycle that it rose and set. It's interesting that most of the art in the Fornax is dominated by this W-shaped zigzag, which is true. You can look at the painting even on the pottery shards, and there's that distinctive zigzag. I'm just marveling at that right now. Fornax, zigzag. However, this alignment may largely have been symbolic rather than practical, as the passage was filled by burials during the Stone Age, hence closing off the chamber. The chamber of the mound of the hostages was also filled by burials from the Bronze Age, but its Stone Age function of aligning to the Samhain sunrise is still observable today. The sunrise is most accurate for about a week around Samhain, which is around Americans' Halloween. And interestingly, one of the great feasts associated with Terra was a Samhain week-long celebration. Then, the author speculates about the other mound, Fornax 2, and the yin and yang nature of the two structures. One structure was a center of activity, of preparing the dead for burial, while the other was for the actual burial or being. One was meant to be public, while the other was private. Life, death, east, west, sunrise, sunset, sky, earth. It is interesting to contemplate. Okay, and mark a note on sky, earth, because that connects to the next half of this episode. The article then dives into what's called psychedelia, writing another consideration on the artwork of Fornax and other passage graves may be linked with shifts in consciousness. This may be naturally induced through meditation, chant, drum beats, etc., or through the use of hallucinogenic plants such as magic mushrooms, which were growing in prehistoric Ireland. One interesting observation of people who go into altered states is that many report regular geometric patterns flashing before their eyes. One of the most noted sage artists to include this in her work was Saint Hildegard von Bingen, who would come out of religious ecstasies with fully formed songs and psychedelic art. Note the series of repetitive geometric shapes around the figure he points out in an image that he has. People who experience those visual distortions during a migraine attack also experience something similar. Okay, this by far is my favorite theory, and especially the piece about sky and earth. After a quick break, I'd like to tell you about the new kid on the angel block and how is it related to the phantom knocker? I'm starting to have a few clues, but let's get into that after the break. Back in a minute.
Ooh, new OctoberPod promos. Let's hear what we've got. OctoberPod AM. Retro horror for bold individualists. Listen bi-weekly wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe to OctoberPod Home Video for true, true-ish, and classic tales of horror and the paranormal. New videos each month, only on YouTube. For retro horror of impeccable taste, listen to OctoberPod AM, wherever you get podcasts. You're listening to the smooth sounds of retro horror on OctoberPod AM with your host Edward October, the best horror narrator in the wherever you get podcasts. Stay spooky, mes amis. Wow, that was weird. tape must have gotten possessed. I hate when that happens. OctoberPodVHS.com.
Welcome back. There's a growing consensus in the woo community about who the newest Archangel is. So who's this new guy? And what does it have to do with my mysterious invisible knocker? I'm not sure, but I hope by learning about him, I'll put the puzzle pieces together. For a few days after that mysterious knocking, I noticed that the topic of Orion kept coming up for me in books, on socials, in conversation, on a drive where the Orion constellation dominated the night sky. And another phrase I'd been unfamiliar with, Orion's angels. That and selenite, the crystal that Robert Simmons describes as enhancing spiritual activation, communion with the higher self, attuning to the universal mind lattice, and key in integrating heart awareness and the brain mind. More on the crystals of Orion later, though, but I've never heard of Orion's angels. That was new. I searched the internet using that term and found some information. Many in the spiritual community call Orion the most recent addition to an army of archangels. He is said to be the archangel of oneness, and here at this particular time during the ascension to help us experience a deep sense of connection with the cosmos and all that is. His qualities are protection and unconditional love. His aura is said to be dark blue, indigo, violet, and a column of colors of cosmic nebula, including bright white. His chakra, stellar gateway, his life area, connection to union, and seeing the bigger picture. Numbers associated with Archangel Orion, 3 or 333, and crystals, selenite, moldavite, galena, and Herkimer diamonds. Archangel Orion is an expert at manifesting miracles. Orion is the ascended light being of the stars, embodying the essence of angelic qualities, making him feel like an archangel. He collaborates closely with other angels and light beings, and his radiant light resembles that of the angels. His name Orion signifies a rising star in the sky. Named after the Orion constellation, he broadcasts his divine frequency through the renowned Orion's belt, composed of 3 brilliantly shining stars, and I'll try to pronounce them. There's Alnitak, Alnihilam, and Mintaka. His light represents the vastness of unconditional love and the abundance of the universe. Orion is a galactic or cosmic angel. His vibration is incredibly high, earning him the distinction of a throne angel, so much like Metatron and Sandalphon. Here's some additional information I found from the Black Feather Intuitive, whose link is in the show notes. Quote, others may call him the Galactic Archangel or the Archangel of Manifestation because he was named after the 3 brightest stars, also known as Orion's belt in the universe. When you think of him, you may see stars, constellations, or the entire universe while feeling this powerful cosmic energy and a sense of awe from being in his presence. It can be a lot to process, like an out-of-body experience, but absolutely worth it, she adds. He is fairly new on the scene, a highly advanced light being filled with love and kindness, offering us a big picture view to connect us with our true purpose here on Earth. Orion prompts you to ask the big questions like, why do you want what you want? And how does that fit into the bigger picture? When your hopes and dreams come calling, so does Archangel Orion to help guide you to what you truly want. The universe is vast and almost incomprehensible, and yet we all have the universe within. Each of us is made up of star stuff. The cells and molecules that make up our bodies resemble the universe in a miniature form. When you watch someone go through a painful physical experience, a part of you feels it with them. Likewise, when you see someone experience a joyful moment, you can relate to that as well because we are all connected. Orion connects us to this powerful truth and helps us to use use it to benefit ourselves on the path to enlightenment and freedom. She goes on, when you look up at the stars and find yourself gazing upon Orion's belt, you are channeling Orion's frequency and healing light. But he isn't just the stars. He's the entire universe. Orion has unsurpassable knowledge and insights to help ground us in navigating our physical lives. Call on him when you need help manifesting your deep desires, reaching your true life purpose, or you're in need of grounding. You can also use him for your material desires, but you want to think about the request in terms of how you'll feel when you have it. For example, she says, if you want to manifest a car, connect with Orion by envisioning how much easier your daily life will be with this transportation to get you where you need to be, how safe you'll feel within it, and how excited you'll be to drive it. By focusing on the feeling, Orion can help you connect to your material desire through emotional frequency. Many agree that Orion is not an angel with wings, and he has no particular color to make himself known, but rather a glowing light being with unique high vibrations. Most people also see stars or the universe when in his presence. He has been known to be extremely friendly, easy to chat with, kind and loving with a recognizable cleansing or healing energy. God, I love that account of him. Christina Aroch adds, quote, Archangel Orion is here to help you feel that sense of safety and support in your divine power, in your divine essence, in who you are as a spiritual being. As you begin to understand more of the bigger picture and the co-creative manifestation process, as you see the bigger role of you in the universe and everything that is unfolding, Archangel Orion helps you to stand strong in your power and helps you to feel safe in it. He helps you to feel supported in it, as well as bringing in these divine cosmic frequencies to help this transformation that is happening right now. And I have to interject right here because what if this is connected to those burial mounds, the four knocks, which represent the human body and then the supernatural journey we take after we die. And Orion is here right now to say, you don't have to wait until you die to reach that supernatural realm. You have the divine within you, so you can start manifesting that light, that love, that new earth right now during this ascension period. And he's here to help out. Whew. That just kind of resonated to my bones. Here's a channeled message that I found from flowingwithangels.com. She channeled, I am Archangel Orion, and I'm the keeper of the secrets and the wisdom of the stars and the higher dimensions unseen by the human eye. My energy represents the powerful light and the immense love and abundance of the earth. First, I would like to convey to you that you alone hold the key to everything related to your earthly life. And with this key comes the responsibility to use it wisely and consistently. The key represents the combination of your spiritual higher wisdom and your earthly state of presence. Okay, again, I have to interject because that whole phrase, even about being consistent, that goes back to the original Google search I did about the four knocks on my door, doesn't it? To show up and be consistent, and that I'm responsible for all of this earthly experience. Back to the channeled message though. My message is about recognizing the correlation between these two aspects of your being and implementing them equally into your life. My most important mission in relation to the human race is to wake you up to the natural power you possess to manifest your own personal fulfillment, joy, and happiness. When you live through experiences where you feel like circumstances and other people are affecting you in a disempowering way, and you start reacting to them in anger or sadness or with blame and judgments, I appear by your side to show you how to redirect your precious energy in a more constructive manner. I am here to help you see that you can only change the way you experience your life by tending to your own happiness and emotional well-being in a sovereign and responsible way. It is only possible to attract goodness when you hold yourself, others, and your circumstances in the highest possible regard with a feeling of love, overflowing love, and radiant abundance. It is impossible to attract abundance from a consciousness of lack. It is impossible to attract lightness and laughter from a heavy and burdened heart. It is impossible to receive inspiration from a mental prison in your mind. The universal laws simply will not allow it. True wisdom encompasses the recognition that you have to clear yourself from these old behaviors and responses and to make room for clarity to light up your life. Clarity is the absence of mental judgments and dependencies on the outer world. It brings deep peace and inner stillness. It helps you transform your life for the better. The next step, she channeled, requires your strength to courageously translate your renewed and cleared energy frequency into your 3D reality through a process of selective focus and choice making with regard to your relationships, your endeavors, and material possessions. You alone are responsible for bringing structure and balance into your life and daily activities in a way that serves your highest good and that of others. Your presence and alertness to your earthly life will support and enhance your energy frequency and vice versa. The cooperation between the two allows growth on all levels and will provide the gateway through which your manifestations will show themselves to you. Playfulness and practice are key words in this process. Play with the energies, observe, adjust, learn, and grow. Do not get discouraged, but realize that you have the inner strength and wisdom to persevere and thrive. Enjoy the journey without caring about the destination because your destinations are endless. I am your biggest supporter. I am the Archangel who oversees the human process of expansion and growth. I am here to help you to discover your own magical abilities. Ask me to guide you along your path, and I will be right there to shower you with a multitude of blessings. In love, Archangel Orion. Wow, what a message. From angelsparkles.com, I found this. Angelsparkles.com, not to be confused with my sister Lane's Cat Sparkles. The website author Brenda Lott generously shared the following: how Orion can help you. Orion has a deep connection to healing and purification. As a healer, he can clear negative energy away from your chakras and aura. Anytime you connect with him, the first thing he will do is provide you with a quick cleanse, which will uplift you. You can also call on him when you need protection or guidance on your journey through your life. Orion also specializes in self-mastery. He teaches you how to master your emotions through meditation and mindfulness, which goes hand in hand with last week's episode. When you are cut off from your feelings, you tend to suffer more than necessary. This is because it's difficult to know what will bring you happiness if you do not pay attention to what makes you happy in the present moment. Manifest your biggest wishes with Orion. She asks, do you have a big goal or dream? Orion is perfect to call upon for assistance. He helps you every step of the way to achieve your biggest dreams and helps you fulfill your soul purpose. When you want to work with Archangel Orion, start by writing down your goals, dreams, and desires. Then below each one, write out why you want to achieve those things. Finally, look at the entire list and see how everything fits together in your life. This is a good step to complete whether or not you're working with angels. Why? Because it helps you know the reasons why you're putting in effort to achieve those goals and dreams. Focus on what steps you can take starting now to manifest your dreams. Then continue asking Orion for help every step throughout your journey. Also, she continues, view your life from a wider perspective. When you're curious about why certain events are happening in your life, Orion helps you to get answers. He also assists you in seeing anything that might be hidden, especially if you're not seeing the bigger picture in your life. Additionally, Orion will bring up all the big questions for you to ponder in every area of your life. Why do you want to accomplish that goal? What do you want from the relationships in your life? What do you want to do with your life and why? If you do not have a clear answer for each question, Orion will help you find clarity. I found another article about Archangel Orion and the crow symbolism. This was super informative. It was from flowingwithangels.com. Of course, the link is in the show notes. The crow represents our spiritual and creative powers and acts as a mystical gateway to the higher spiritual realms and the magic and mysteries of life. This fascinating and highly intelligent spirit animal helps us to access insights and understanding beyond the reach of the rational mind and to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity about the discovery of the unknown. The crow symbolism is also associated with death as a process of transformation and signifies the end of an old cycle followed by a new beginning. Boy, this is a theme, isn't it, from this whole Four Knocks? Endings and beginnings. When we go through big inner and outer changes in our lives, we often get pushed out of our comfort zone and are confronted with inner parts that were previously hidden, as well as triggered fears of letting go and embracing the unknown. Crow encourages us to confront the shadow within ourselves and the negativity we observe in the outer world around us with fearless audacity and with a clear and higher perspective. When we look at the duality of life without judgment and attachment, our powerful light of awareness will integrate the seemingly contradictory energies of light and dark, which will allow us to rise above the negative aspects of our life's experiences. She continues, when we are firmly rooted in the brightness of our own inner light, we are able to transcend the accompanying lower emotions of fear and victimhood and take responsibility as conscious manifestors and creators of our own reality. As a master communicator, Crow teaches us about the power of our words and reminds us that the way in which we speak determines what we attract back into our world. Crow inspires us to speak up for our truth, to claim our rightful space, and to set healthy boundaries. Wow. Archangel Orion is the galactic archangel of manifestation and spiritual rebirth and resurrection. Let's find out how the energy of the crow spirit animal fits into his inspiring message for us. Here's the message that the author Muriel channeled from Orion that connects with the crow information. Dear ones, I, Archangel Orion, am delighted to be here with you and to convey this message to you, a message about the balance between the lighter and darker energies within you that is established through the mastery of your emotional reactions and responses to your inner and outer world. Through the crow symbolism, I would like to encourage you to face the parts of you that are afraid to allow you to navigate the currents of life with ease and flow and still keep you in the grip of rigidity and control. When these inner parts get challenged by a season of great change and transformation, they conjure up a whirlwind of emotional upheaval and restless thoughts. The energy of the crow spirit reminds you to stay grounded when the energies of change seem to overwhelm you and to practice self-control and to apply a razor-sharp focus to take on a higher perspective and determine your core values and priorities. This is not accomplished from a place of aggression, force, or domination, but from a place of compassion and understanding for yourself and others. Great strength can be found in these sweet, soft, and loving qualities because they will strengthen your inner light, take the pressure off overheated and overexhausted states of being, and allow events and progress to naturally and effortlessly unfold in your life. The beautiful crow is the perfect example of boldness combined with the intelligence and clarity to stay grounded and present throughout the different stages of your spiritual evolution and the transitions they bring to your daily life. The key is to enter the portal of divine magic through your heart chakra. Opening your heart chakra is the medicine for the rigidity caused by old limiting beliefs and consists of the practice of consciously setting out this higher vibration of love, light, and blessings into the world. By doing this, you will ultimately adjust your view of the world you live in and the people around you, which has been distorted by previous heartache and pain. Instead of expecting the worst, you courageously choose to expect the best, strengthening and projecting this new energy outwards through visualizations and meditation that will awaken your powers of creation, the practice of kindness, gratitude, and compassion, but most of all, the way you use your inner and outer voice by speaking words of upliftment, truth, and clarity, as the crow symbolism so profoundly refers to, will balance out and integrate the shadow aspects of your ego by bathing them in the light of your true self and neutralizing this paralyzing effect on your abilities to manifest happiness and well-being. It all comes down to the choice between love and fear. Your shadow parts are always based on fear because they are born out of situations and experiences that made you feel left to your own devices and separated from the divine. This is the greatest illusion of all because nothing can separate you from the source of all that is. You are greatly loved and cared for. Once you build up your confidence that comes from finding your balance and mastery over old emotional responses, a deep peace arises within you. There will still be times when you get triggered by your old ways and beliefs. Oh, that's true for me. But the more you progress spiritually, the more they will lose their power over you because your inner light will illuminate them. And instead of getting caught up in fear, sadness, or anger, your heart fills up with compassion for the beliefs and convictions you once thought to be true. When you shine your light of awareness onto them, you will see that the symbolic monsters that you feared are merely just shadows of the past. Now your energy is free for new beginnings to take place and for your true magical powers of manifestation to prevail. That was an amazing channeling, and parts of it mirrored the earlier channeling too, didn't they? And I was struck with the word whirlwind because it was a wind that blew in that night that knocked on my door, and it's all connected. It's earth and heaven. Earth and sky, our bodies and our souls. The crows and the angels message really hit home to me. So did the ominous warning from that Reddit user about aliens knocking 4 times before they abduct people. Erase the fear in that. And both crows and aliens represent flying, dimensionally and spiritually straddling 2 places at once. And all that links to Archangel Orion, who is telling us and reminding me to see the bigger picture. And remember, it's not a special trait to have supernatural abilities. It's a built-in feature of these human bodies and embodied souls that we are. We are all battery packs that when we're plugged into heaven and earth at the same time, like aliens and crows, we're able to take part in a greater universal dance. The magic is in the in-between, those spaces, those juicy in-between spaces. And we were built to do just that, to connect with those in-between places. Somehow I'd forgotten until this 4 mysterious knocks startled me out of it. Muriel, the woman that channeled Archangel Orion, summed up this conversation perfectly. Quote, I hope Archangel Orion's message will bring you inspiration and encouragement, end quote. I do too. I hope that too, that my startling experience and the unraveling of the mystery helps you the next time something unexpected comes your way, that you look long enough to see the blessings and the divine knowledge reveal itself. Until next time, stay curious. I love you.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.